Welcome, everybody, everybody, to yoga video by myself, Robin, yoga video number 2. And this is just a wonderful practice for beginners, for people who have been away from yoga for a while, people who might want to give it a little try because they're curious. So we are learning poses, one pose at a time, and we are learning some of the easier counter poses in between the more difficult poses to kind of make it feel like a flow. But it's not traditionally vinyasa flow or power yoga or hot yoga or some of those more challenging yogas. This is just simply to learn the poses as somebody new coming into yoga or coming back to yoga. And it is a wonderful practice for me to really cue in those poses slowly so that I can get my thoughts together, and to help me help students who would practice with me to connect anatomically to what you should be feeling in that position. And when you are starting out as a teacher, there are lots of things that you have to remember that are going on up here. And so through my learning and my practicing to be a teacher, I'm going back to the beginning so that I can integrate all of the pieces, all of the wonderful pieces that have been shared with me. So that is the reason for these videos. I am not going to stop when I make a mistake. I apologize ahead of time if you hear kids in the background or dogs barking or a dog decides to come up and do yoga with me, which that happens too. And the reason for that is because yoga is meant to be a real experience. And if I am trying to make always this quiet, perfect space in my life to do yoga, it would just never happen. And so we practice through the chaos because that is the essence, that is the embodiment of yoga, is to have something that brings you to this calm center through all of the turbulent waves and craziness and chaos of our lives. So having said that, welcome to practice number 2. We are going to bring in a few of the poses from the first video so that we can, through repetition, we can begin to just bring those into our muscle memory. And I am going to introduce 7 new poses today. I have 2 things that I want to work on after looking at my first video and self-critiquing. I first want to stop using the word guys. In my mind, guys means everybody. And that comes from 30 years of working with children in classrooms and after-school programs in order to get attention, which we have to do a lot in a classroom as a teacher. It's a lot of, hey guys, settle down. All right, are we ready to begin the next thing? And so I always use that term in a very loving way. But we now know in this world that there are so many ways we identify and so many ways that we present ourselves to the world. And so I now know that guys can be something that is exclusive. It could possibly exclude another person from joining into a circle that I'm trying to create. And so I'm going to try my hardest in this old brain to clear my language memory, my linguistic memory from that word, And I am going to replace it with more inclusive words like friends or people or folks or human beings, so that I am creating a really safe, kind experience for anyone, everybody to join into. And so I am going to hold myself accountable for that. And the second, number 2 critique, which is probably one of my biggest areas to work on, is cutting things, shorter. So I am always long-winded. I always have a lot of things that I want to share. That has been my whole life's dilemma, and how do I just choose a few? So I'm going to work on that. And my take on including a lot of things is also part of my want to give to the world. Part of what I want to share with the world is this idea of slowing down. When I look at 3 decades of teaching and working with children, one of the most difficult things I think that our children experience is the pace of what we're expecting. We're just moving too fast, and their brains are trying to process so many things. And it is my belief, there is no science to this, it's just my own observation, that a lot of the things that we see with children and coming into children who are young adults, a lot of the things that we see where we say attention problems or attention concerns, I think is just a society that goes way too fast. And so I've always tried to be much slower in how I explain things, and slower in any lessons that I want to teach. Now it's not classroom lessons, but it's yoga lessons. And so that is a big part of me and a big belief. So I'm going to try to pick up the pace, but not in a way that we go so fast that people begin to feel that anticipation of having to rush and what's coming next. And that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to work on that as well, trying to go a little bit faster, but not so fast that we take away a space that is for slowing down. So I hope that makes sense to everyone. And with that, let's begin. So I say we start seated today in seated pose, which I talked about at the last practice. And you can use a block for seated pose. You can use a rolled up blanket for seated pose. Or if some of you have bolsters at home, you can use a bolster. I'm going to stay seated just on the mat because I'm comfortable today. I have just finished about 20 to 25 minutes of dancing. So if you didn't see the first video, because this is a very easy flow, there's not a lot of challenge to it. If you want to integrate or incorporate some kind of movement like walking or dancing or just some type of calisthenics, some weightlifting, you can do that before this flow. And then I think it's a nice integration from moving the body faster into allowing the body to continue to move, but at a slower pace. And these exercises, these postures, asana, as we call them in Sanskrit and yoga, these asana postures are to build strength and to tone, but most importantly, allow us through breath and movement to come into our center. And so you might want to pause this video and go get those things if you don't have them. It might be a good idea to have a little bit of water, especially if you do a high energy workout first. You might want to light some candles You might want to have some music playing today. I am attempting to add music and I hope that you can hear it. It's just a quiet, calm play going on that's consistent and goes throughout the practice, so I don't have to play around with any phones or computers. And you might want to incorporate a rock or some type of little emblem or something that is a sign of strength or a sign of peace or a sign of happiness or security. Because when you do yoga, you are sending out this very positive vibration, and anything around you that is matter, which is just about everything, will be infused with that peaceful and warm energy, that positive energy. So today, because I'm struggling, as many of you are, I'm struggling a lot with what's happening in Ukraine, and in some way we're all feeling it. We're seeing it, we're hearing it, we're taking it in, and that's, that can be heavy to carry that around. It's a good thing because it means that your moral compass, your sense of empathy and compassion is alive and well. But sometimes it feels very heavy to carry around. So I have a little rock that was made in Gloucester in this beautiful center called the Grace Center. And my friend Rona is a wonderful minister, and she helped to run that center and helping. It was a safe haven. It was a place for people who were addicts or trying to recover from addiction. And that center provided them a plethora of services. And one of the things they did was they encouraged them to make a lot of art. And one such artist made this beautiful rock with the words hope on it and gave it to me when I was there one day. And so I have that out to be infused with warm, positive energy, and I'm going to put it on my kitchen windowsill. And whenever I start to get a little overwhelmed with the very harsh things that are going on in our greater world, that will be a sign to me that I can take a break for a moment. I can take a breath. I can take a rest from that heaviness. And so I invite you now to come down onto the mat in seated pose, however that feels comfortable for you. And just begin to allow yourself to come away from, step away from the active world that you are a part of. So coming into this space is a space that is dedicated for your practice to improve upon the things that you want to improve upon. It is a space to allow yourself to come into quiet and become more connected within. And so as we begin to do that, we want to become aware of our own natural breathing. And you can close your eyes if you feel safe to do that in your environment. You can have a soft gaze ahead of you, or you can keep your eyes open, whatever feels comfortable. You can have your palms out if you are wanting to receive energy. And if you are feeling tired or heavy, you might want to place your palms down on your knees gently. Just taking in a few breaths here. Coming into a place of quiet, settling in, calming down the nervous system. Just take about 4 rounds of natural breath here. Beginning to become aware of the muscles, any tightening, Beginning to allow those muscles to relax. Allowing the seat bones to become more connected to the earth. Allowing the spine to shift, bringing the hips into a neutral position. Allowing that spine to sit long and straight with energy flowing up and out through the crown towards the sky. Allowing the shoulders to come away from the ears, sending them down towards the back body where they belong. Maybe letting the tongue come away from the roof of your mouth. Relaxing the eyebrows and the forehead. Relaxing the jaw. Beginning to be aware of your breath and breathing a little bit more deeply here. Very nice. The pranayama that we're going to share through the beginning of this practice is something called box breath. And box breath is breathing deeply into, just like the diaphragmatic breathing, breathing deeply into the belly and allowing all of the air to expel out and come back deep into the body. But if you can imagine on the inhale, I'm going to draw with my finger a box so that you can follow along and do some rounds of this. I'm going to inhale, pretending to draw one side of the box like this, filling the belly, and then exhaling, drawing the base of the box. Inhaling, exhaling, finishing the box. And if you could just picture that in your mind's eye, drawing out this box, remaining calm and seated and peaceful with a nice straight spine, shoulders are down, coming down towards the back and away from the ears, and beginning this deeper breath, this box breath. And we're going to do about 6 or 7 rounds of that beginning now. Feeling the breath all through the lungs as they open up into the back ribs, into the side ribs, into the front ribs, and then allowing the breath to come out all the way, emptying the belly. Very nice. And so we're going to continue with that box breath as we begin to prepare the body for asana. And the first stretch that we're going to do is we're going to come to towards the back of our mat, and we're just going to send the toes out in different directions, opening up, and just finding your seat bones, Sorry about that. That's the YouTube music making a commercial. I'll talk over it. So you're just going to begin here to do some flexing and pointing, beginning to prepare the feet for movement. There are things in yoga that we call blocks. Some people refer to them as binds, but the more reading I've done, the more I see the word being more culturally appropriate as blocks. And one of those is pada bandha. There are different places in the body that we can create blocks. And our feet is known as pada in Sanskrit, and bandha meaning block. And when we talk about the feet, pada bandha, it just means that we're really planting the feet in different postures. And we're feeling all four corners of the feet, the sides of the toes, just underneath the toes where our pads are, and both sides of the bottom of our heels. And when you can feel those 4 points in the feet, you have a really nice, stable position for standing poses and balancing poses. All right, and then we can relax the feet and begin to move around the wrists. And the other place that we have blocks and blocks meaning strength, are the hands. And those are known in yoga as hasta bandha. That is Sanskrit for hand block. And so when we are using hasta bandha, our palms are directly placed down, depending on the pose, under our body, and our fingers are fanned wide open. And when you can feel hasta bandha, you can feel the pads at the where your fingers begin. You can feel the backs of your knuckles, and your fingers being spread also gives you stability and balance when we're using poses that require pressure on the hands or wrists or elbows or shoulders. And those awareness of those blocks gives support throughout the body system that it's connected to. And so hasta bandha is referring to the hands, and pada bandha is referring to our feet. All right, we're going to bring one heel in towards our pelvic area, and we're just going to take a nice deep breath in here, that nice box breath, breathing deeply, imagining the box, exhaling out. And we're just going to stretch over to that other side. What you do with this other hand is up to you. I tend to leave my hand here because it gives a more stability to my hip that sometimes hurts. I'll talk to you sometimes about how I have hips and other joint areas that hurt because I have an autoimmune disease that does that to me. So always listening to your own body in yoga. Coming back up to neutral position. We're going to change legs. Always in yoga, we want to take care of our body by listening to it. Exhale out as we make our way down. And so finding the edge, that little bit of discomfort is what we're looking for, but we do not want burning, tingling, pulling, tearing. We don't want pain, and those are signs that we're doing too much. That's pain. You just want to be a little bit uncomfortable because you're challenging the body. That's what you want. You want to make space in the body, and we want our prana, our breath, to go into those places of space and push out the negative energy and make more room in the body for good things. But you don't want to feel pain. And inhale up, coming back to center. We're going to bring our legs together here. This position is called Dandasana. We learned that from the last time. We want our feet in flexion where our toes are pointing to the ceiling, and you should just feel this really nice stretch down the whole back of the body. And here you have two choices. You can bend your knees and reach for your toes. This is a nice seated forward bend. Or if it feels okay and you're feeling some heat and some flexibility, you can reach for the toes without a bend, but I always recommend starting out with a bend, okay? We want to keep everybody safe and healthy. The purpose of our practice is for ease and comfort, not adding disease. We don't want to do that. Nice deep breath in, coming up, and then sending yourself back down, exhaling out. One more deep breath in. And sending the body, the torso over the legs, breathing out. Very nice. We're going to come to a kneeling position, and we're just going to stretch out those toes, that pada bandha, that part of our body, and we're just, if it feels comfortable, we're going to roll up with our glutes on top of our heels. Now, if this doesn't feel comfortable, you can put a block under here and give yourself a little bit of stability. You don't have to sit on your heels, but find what's comfortable for you, and we're just going to stretch out those feet. Feeling a really nice stretch in the soles and in the backs of the toes. Nice deep breath in here. Exhale down. We're going to come down to either sitting on the feet or what we would call hero's pose. I'm going to open up my knees a bit, and I'm going to allow my buttocks to come down to the mat. Now, this is a position that can hurt if you have sore knees. So again, you might want to use a blanket under you. You might want to just stay up here on the tops of your knees. You're still getting a nice stretch in the quadriceps. For me, it feels good to come all the way down, and I get an extra stretch in the quadriceps. But I want you to be safe and aware of your knees in this position, because if you have sore knees, this can hurt. We don't want anybody's knees blowing out. Nice deep breath in here. Exhale it out. We're going to do some shoulders rolling back here, loosening up the shoulders, preparing that area for movement. And then we're going to do a few forward. And we're going to allow the neck, the chin to come down to the chest, very gentle here. Paying careful attention to the neck and any sensation. And then we're going to come up, and this may not be comfortable for you. You might just go here. We're just going to bend the neck and have a nice little front stretch. Only go where it feels good to you. That can also be a very dangerous position with the neck, so you have to be careful. And then we're going to come down to one side, bring one ear to the shoulders, continuing to stretch out the cervical spine, that small little area of the neck and the back that connects to your spine. And then over to the other side, breathing in deeply, exhaling out. Very nice. We're going to come back up one more time. Give those feet another little stretch. Breathing in deeply. Exhale it out. We're going to bring our hands to the floor, sort of rock back, and walk our hands back to the feet. Then just hang here for a moment in a forward bend, forward fold. We learned this, this asana in the first video. Just a nice deep breath in, letting everything hang. If you need to bring the floor up, you can bring your bolster, your blankets, or your block so that the floor comes up closer to you. You can have a bend in the knees here, getting ready to warm up those hamstrings. And then we're going to rise slowly all the way up. Big inhale here. Exhale it out. Just going to fix my mat. We're going to come to the side of the mat again, facing each other. Do another nice deep breath here. Exhale it out. We're going to bring our feet to the corners of the mat, spreading them out a bit. I lost my balance a little bit there. And if you are not feeling heated up yet, you can have a bend in your knees. If you're feeling pretty flexible and heated, remembering to breathe, we're going to go down for a wide-legged forward fold here. We're going to hinge from the hips. We're going to take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, find our way down, slow and steady. Bringing those palms, that hasta bandha to the earth, allowing our crown to be parallel and as close to the earth as we can get it. And just feeling a really nice sensation in the backs of the calves, the knees, going up into the hamstrings, into the lumbar spine, the lower back. And again, no tingling, no painful sensation. It should feel really good. And if it doesn't, then you can have a chair in front of you. You can have your bolster or blocks. You don't have to make it all the way down. Practicing will get you to be more flexible. But if you're not there yet, that's okay. We're going to take a nice inhalation here. And we're going to send one arm up to the sky, and then as much as our neck allows, we're going to look up to the sky with that hand and really open up the chest. Little twist here to get the spine ready for movement. Nice deep breath in. Exhale it out, come down. And then we're going to do the other side. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. One more deep breath in. Exhale it out. Very nice. We're going to walk the feet in together gently and come up really slow, vertebrae by vertebrae. Inhaling as we come up. Big inhale here. Hands in Anjali Mudra, the prayer of yoga. We can come to heart center here. Giving you this moment, this opportunity to set your intention for today's practice. It can be very simple that you just make it through to the end of the practice. It could be maybe you want to clean out a closet. Maybe that's a big undertaking right now and you're trying to do some spring cleaning. Whatever it is, just set that intention right there at your heart center. And you always have the option of not setting an intention. This is your practice. You make it work for you. Nice inhalation here. Exhale it out. One more deep breath in. Exhale it out. We're going to start in Tadasana. Hands are out beside our bodies. Palms are shining out. Maybe here we can imagine in our moments when we don't feel like we have much power or control over a situation. Here we stand as a mountain, strong, Pada Bandha, feeling the earth in all four corners of our feet. Our knees and quadriceps are engaged and tight and strong. Our heart is open and shining to the world. And the energy from our body just comes right through the center and from the palms And just releasing just positive, beautiful, purple and white energy to any place that you might feel needs healing. Big inhale here. Exhale it out. Tadasana. If at any time in the practice that you feel you need a break or you want to send more energy out to the world, here you can stand in Tadasana. Our first pose today is Warrior 1. We learned Warrior 2. I'm going to start by sending my left foot out straight towards this wall. I'm going to bring my right foot back a good distance, but not too far, because I want, this is, you know, a balance pose and I want to balance. I'm going to feel that, that Pada Bandha strong, feeling all four corners of my feet. Both sets of toes are going in the same direction towards this front wall that I'm facing. And I'm going to keep this leg straight. And this front leg is going to be, my knee is bent over the ankle, remembering to keep that in a nice line, not sending it over the toes. And at any time you want more of a stretch, you can always bring your feet a little bit further apart from one another. And you should feel this, and hips are going straight, following, my pelvis is following my leg, my front leg, the direction that it's going to, and it's facing forward. You want to feel a pushing down in that back foot and a really nice stretching sensation down that whole back leg. And in this front leg, you want to feel some strengthening and toning in the quadricep. And for Warrior 1, when you are ready, we're going to inhale and just bring both palms meeting each other. And we want our arms to come up as close to our ears and as straight as we can get them. But here is okay if this is where it feels comfortable. Remember, you're listening to your own body. And we're sending the shoulders down the back. We don't want them stuck up beside the ears. We want our shoulders to go where our shoulders are supposed to go, not when we're totally stressed out. And taking a nice deep breath in here. We're going to exhale it out. One more deep breath in. Exhale it out. We're going to bring that back leg up to meet the front. And we're going to do a nice deep breath here. Nice inhalation into the belly. And exhale, forward fold. Bending the knees if you need to. Using your blanket or your bolster or your chair to bring the mat up if you need to. And just letting everything hang. Feeling what it feels like to have one leg really stretched and the other one not so much so. What does that feel like in the body? Making that connection to the physical body. Finding the breath. Finding tension and exhaling it out. We're going to come up. Inhale for a halfway lift. Nice straight spine. Abs are tucked into the back body. Head is shining towards the wall in front of you. And exhale it out. Forward fold. Bringing the body all the way up for a nice inhalation here. Exhale it out. Hands come to heart center. Very nice. And we're going to switch sides now. And I'm going to send my, if you're mirroring me, your left foot will be out in front and your right foot will be sent in the back. All right, another thing that I have to work on as a teacher. This whole mirroring thing is more difficult than you think. All right, so we're sending that forward foot out, bent knee, not too far, staying in line with the ankle. And finding where it feels comfortable. Both sets of toes are following your hips. You're having your spine at a neutral place and you're tucking in those abs, not too much. You just want to keep it neutral. Bending into the knee and feeling this really wonderful stretch down the back of the body. Some nice work in the quadricep. And then when we're ready, this position, this warrior one, is also a beautiful hip opener. And when you're ready, we're going to take a nice deep breath in here, finding high prayer. Palms come together and exhale out, sending the shoulders down the back away from the ears. One more deep breath in here. Exhale it out. We can call this high lunge, warrior one, and I think it's also called crescent pose. I'll have to look that up. And then we're going to bring the back foot to meet the front foot. Nice deep breath in here. And we're going to send it down, floating down like a swan, graceful swan, into a forward fold, full forward fold. Feeling a really wonderful stretch right up the back of the legs, maybe even into this low part of the hips. Nice deep breath in. Exhale it out. Inhale, halfway lift, tucking the abs. Exhale, bring it down, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way up, palms together. Exhale out, hands at heart center. Very nice. Okay, here we go for the next pose. I'm going to turn to this side so that we're working, this particular pose is not working one side or the other. It's actually working everything at once. But I'm going to stay like this because I feel like you can see me better at an angle. So this next pose is called chair pose, and it looks very simple. It's actually one of my least favorite poses because this pose does not feel comfortable to me. It is a challenge. It's a challenge because my knees hurt, and it's a challenge because it's a very awkward position to me. So you're going to start by bringing the feet together and feeling that Pada Bandha, all four corners of the feet, really good. And chair pose is called chair pose because it's like you're going to sit down in a chair, but you've just got to go as low as you can, okay? So I'm going to start by lowering myself, and we want to tuck the pelvis forward so that we don't have this hollow back. We want to unhollow, get rid of that back. We want to bring, like we're doing a squat, but with our legs together. That's why it's a position that I don't like, because my legs are so close together when I do it, and it hurts. I can feel it everywhere. So we're going to come down as we're sitting into a chair. The trick is to keep your belly, your abdomen away from your thighs. You want to feel that strengthening in there. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring your hands forward. Now this is as far as my arms go. Because like I said, this is a very difficult position for me, but you can feel the intensity. You can feel everything in your legs working. And when you add the hands, you can feel your arms working too. So we're going to take a deep breath in here, exhale it out, and slowly rise. Ouch. Whoo! I can really feel that. Now, if chair pose is hard for you, and you're just really you're really just beginning, you can actually sit in a chair. Let me grab my chair. You can really actually sit in a chair and still do some work with this pose, okay? So you might want to do something where you bring the chair up a little bit higher and come down into this sitting position. Sit. Make sure the chair is secure. Sit on the edge and really bend the knees so that you're like coming away from the chair so that you can really feel some work here. And then just send your arms up. This is still a lot of work for me. Like I can really feel my muscles working here. So don't get discouraged because it looks like a really easy pose and it's not. It's a harder pose for us to get our body into. Okay, so that was chair pose. We're going to take a nice deep breath in here, nice inhalation. Exhale it out. And yes, we're going to do it again. All right, so you ready? Feet come together, and you're going to begin to bend the knees and like you're coming into a sitting position on a chair. Try not to go forward because you're not going to get the same sensation. It's almost like the buttocks are being drawn down to your mat, okay? You're going to keep your abs tucked away from your thighs. You're going to have, tilt your pelvis forward, and when you're ready on the inhalation, you're going to bring your arms up. Chair pose. Exhale out. One more deep breath in. Exhale out. One more deep breath in. Exhale out. Coming all the way up to standing. Very nice. Give a little shake out to those legs. Woo woo. Okay. The next pose we're going to do some work on the, on all fours, okay? So what I want you to do is come down to tabletop position. Tabletop, we learned in the first video, is where our knees come directly under our hips. The tops of our feet can come down onto the mat, and you're using those tops of the feet. Even the tops of the feet can be Pada Bandha because that gives you stability. Your hands are Hasta Bandha, they're spread wide open, and you should have the creases of your elbows should be facing forward, and your wrists, elbows, and shoulders should be stacked one on top of the other, okay? And this takes away pressure from your wrists. So if you're like me and you have joint problems, you really want to pay attention to those joints and how to really get the most bang for your buck in protecting them, okay? So here in tabletop, a counter pose, which you can come to anytime in yoga, we're going to turn it now into a few rounds of cat-cow. And here we go with breath. Exhaling out. Pushing the back up and out like a cat when they're hissing, tucking the head in, and inhaling for cow. Exhaling out. Inhaling, drop the abdomen, hollow out the back, lift the head for cow. Let's do 4 rounds of this. Breathing deeply. Inhale, exhale. Two more. Last one. Very nice. Here, we're going to learn plank pose, which is a harder pose. So I'm going to show you 2 variations, or maybe 3. So the first variation is the harder variation, okay? It is how the pose is suggested. Nothing is exactly as it's meant to be, because that kind of terminology in yoga, the true pose, is how people get hurt. All of us have different bodies, and every pose that each of us do, if there's one pose and we all do it, it's going to naturally be a variation because our bodies are all different. And this is yoga for everybody. So I'm going to do a plank pose how it is in a more challenging way, okay, for the body. So again, strong Hasta Bandha, the fingers are spread wide open, your wrists are moving, your creases in your elbows are forward, your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders are all in a straight line. And when you're ready, you're going to put the feet out, you're going to tuck your toes under so the toes, the backs of the toes, and the balls of the feet are where you're going to feel pressure, where you're going to give yourself balance pressure in your feet, okay? So I'm going to send my toes out doing that. I'm going to make my body one long straight line. My spine is one long straight line. There'll be like a little angle at my legs. And this is plank pose, okay? I'm going to take a deep breath in here. Exhale out. One more deep breath in. Exhale out. That is plank pose. This can be plank pose. I'm keeping my knees bent, okay, here's table, and I'm bringing my hips forward closer to the ground, but continuing to keep my wrists, elbows, and shoulders all in a straight line, okay? This is plank pose. Now I'm also going to show you plank pose if you need a little more support for the hands. Or if your wrists are really bothering you, this can be plank pose, okay? If your elbows feel cushioned and better than your wrists, that can be plank pose, okay? And if you're just not ready for any of that lifting, bring your knees under your hips, okay? This can be plank pose. Coming forward, so my knees are at an angle or my thighs are at an angle. This is plank pose, okay? So we're gonna do plank pose however it works for us. I'm gonna do the more challenging version, and we're gonna try to do 3 cycles of breath through plank pose. So bending the toes, coming up, keeping the spine really straight all the way through the back of the neck, through the head. Crown is shining towards the wall, and we're going to do 3 rounds of breath here. One more round. Bringing the knees down, and we're going to bring our knees out away from our hips, bringing the 2 big toes together and allowing the hips to be sent down towards the heels for child's pose, which we learned in video 1. Taking a nice inhalation here, breathing it out, feeling the breath all the way down into the side ribs, into the back ribs, filling the belly. Exhale it out. One more big breath here. Exhale it out. Very nice. Let's come up to our knees for just a moment and give our shoulders a little bit of roll out here. We're going to take a nice deep breath in here, and we're just going to send that arm back like we did in the first video in between our shoulder blades. I'm going to show you here. So my elbow is at a point, bent, and I'm sending my hand down into the in between my shoulder blades, and I'm just applying a little pressure with the opposite hand to give a nice stretch out to my shoulder, triceps, and biceps. Nice deep breath in here. Exhale it out, and then we're going to send the arm across, giving a nice stretch to that shoulder blade. The deltoids, those tree climbing muscles. And then we're going to do that on the other side. Deep breath in, sending that other elbow, bending it, sending the hand in between the shoulder blades. Exhale it out. One more inhale. Bring the arm around, giving it a nice little squeeze, and exhale it out. Very, very nice. Our next pose is called Cobra pose. We're going to go down onto our belly. So we can start in tabletop and then begin to walk our knees away and lower ourselves down onto our belly. Cobra pose is done by placing the hands next to the shoulders, as close into the shoulders as you can get, so that your palms, your wide spread fingers, are underneath the front of your shoulders, okay, right next to your chest. And when you're ready, you're just going to push the floor away from you and rise. And this is Cobra pose. You should not feel any pain in the lower back or any part of the back. You should just feel that edge, that sensation like, okay, this is a little bit hard, but I can do a few rounds of breath through it. So let's breathe right now. Ready? Exhale out. One more in breath. Exhale out. Let's try for one more. Exhale, lower down. Oh, those hands just got a nice workout, those arms. So we're just going to let the arms be beside us for a moment. Wiggle the fingers, taking a nice breath here. Exhale out. And let's do cobra pose one more time. We're going to spread our fingers out. Hasta Bandha, that nice block. And we're really going to protect the wrists. And we're going to, when we're ready, on the inhale, we're going to send our bodies up, pushing with our palms and using the arms. Here we go. Inhale here. Exhale out. Inhale again. Exhale out. Inhale. Exhale, lower down. Really good, everybody. All right, let's come back up to our knees. And always, if anytime your knees start to bother you, give it a little cushioning. Shake those hands out. Okay, and now we're going to do a pose that also is a little bit more challenging. It is very similar to cobra pose. It's called up dog, okay? And the difference is that you're coming up, straightening the arms all the way, and you're actually lifting the pelvis, the belly, and the thighs and the shins off the floor so that the backs of your feet are giving you strong pada bandha on the tops of your feet as they push into the mat, as they push into the earth. So I'm going to show you the more challenging variation of upward facing dog, but there are other variations I'm going to give you after if that one's too hard, okay? And you're doing a fabulous job. We just have one more pose after this, and this practice is done, and you've gotten through it. So yay! Give yourself some credit here, okay? All right, so this is upward facing dog. So I'm going to go into the pose. I'm going to start like at tabletop here. I'm going to send my, actually I'm going to come down to my belly. I'm going to go that way. I'm thinking of vinyasa flow, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to come down and start on my belly on the mat. I'm going to move up a little bit so that you can see that the tops of my feet are pushing down into the mat. I'm going to engage my front thighs by pulling up my knees, tightening my calves, tightening my quadriceps. I'm going to be in the same position with my hands underneath the front parts of my shoulders, close to my chest. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to inhale and I'm going to send my whole body up so that you can see that my pelvis and my stomach and the fronts of my legs are off the mat. This is upward facing dog. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower. I'm going to do it one more time. This is the more challenging one. Really good arm workout. You should not feel any pain in the lower back. If you do, that's your body's way of saying come down, okay? So up dog can also look like this, okay? You don't want to keep your arms, your elbows all the way straight here. You still want bend in them, but it's a little bit more than cobra, okay? All right, so that's a variation of up dog. If up dog does not feel good because you have lower back problems, you can do Sphinx pose. These are all back bends. So however you're getting a little back bend in creating a healthy back is totally fine. You don't have to do up dog. You can do this. You can also do locust pose, which is what we did on the first video. Locust pose is also a back bend. So any of those, this, Sphinx, cobra, or up dog, they're all back bends. It depends on which one you like best, okay? All right, inhale, exhale out. We're gonna send ourselves back into baby's pose for a counter pose here to stretch out the back, stretch out the arms, take a break, and gain some power from Mother Earth. Nice deep breath in here. Exhale it out. One more deep breath in. Exhale it out. Coming back up to tabletop. Our next pose is also a pose that has many variations. I'm going to come up for a little bit of toe stretch here. If that feels good, you can join me. If not, you can stay down in tabletop. This next pose is called camel pose. And it's also a back bend, but it's also really a nice chest opener, rib opener, even the higher abs. I cannot do the most challenging of this pose, which is to go down and hold on to your ankles. I'm not there yet, but I am getting a little bit more flexible. My back is not very flexible. Back bends are very hard for me, but I am better at it than I was when I started a few months ago. So there's always a period of feeling like you're not good at something, and then the more you practice, you do make gains. Now, I'm never going to have a back that bends beautiful into these postures like some people, but if I can get some of the benefit, that's more than I did before. So just think like that, okay? Think positive. So this pose is really strong top of your feet, Pada Bandha. Like you want to be able to move like a tree with roots, and your roots are the backs of your feet and your knees and your shins. Now, if you have knees that hurt, knees that are sore, you can put some padding underneath there, okay, which I would recommend. So I'm going to, my calves are next to each other. There's not a separation in between them. My feet are strong into the earth. I'm going to take a nice in-breath here. And as I exhale, I'm going to place my arms, my hands like this. I'm going to turn and show you. They're going to be on the back side of my hips, okay? I'm going to roll my shoulders back, bring my chest out, raising it up a little bit so I can feel an opening in those hips. And then I'm going to allow myself to go back, just where I feel that edge, not where I feel pain. And this is my variation of camel. Some people can go much further. Breathing in deeply. Exhale, rise up. Now, if you're only here for camel, that's a start. That's awesome. Give yourself credit. If this is camel for you, that's awesome. I want you to pay close attention to the back of the neck, because again, I'm going to always remind you of those very sensitive areas in the human body, which the back of the neck is one of them. Pay attention to what your neck can do. My neck can bend back like that a little bit, but yours may not. So you don't have to bend your neck like that. You can keep your neck where it feels comfortable for you. This can be camel for right now. My neck's not bent backwards, okay? So you find where it's comfortable for you. So we're gonna do camel in all of its variations for everybody, wherever that feels good. Nice big inhale here and begin to send yourself back. Exhale it out. One more inhale. Exhale, come up. And come down into child's pose for a nice counter stretch. Breathing deep into the back, into the abdomen. Exhaling out. Very nice. We're going to come into a couple of stretches before Shavasana. So if you want to get a blanket very quickly, or something that makes you feel really comfortable, have your pillow beside you, we're going to do a couple of stretches and then we're going to go into Shavasana. All right, so we're going to come back to Dandasana. And we're going to just really make our spine nice and straight, bringing the shoulders back, lowering them away from the ears, taking in a nice deep breath here. Exhaling it out and coming in to a seated forward bend. Bending the knees if it feels good for you, and if not, you can keep a straight leg here. Coming up, nice inhale. We're going to bring one leg over the thigh of the other. With the opposite hand, we're going to come around and hug it and bring the body to the back, sending the arm back, opening up the hips, opening up the chest for a nice inhale here. Exhale it out. One more inhale. Exhale it out. And then switching sides. We always, always, always want to work both sides. You want to feel that balance. Opening up the chest, nice deep in-breath here. Exhale it out. One more inhale here. Exhale it out. We're going to bring our soles of the feet together, sort of making a diamond with our legs. And we're going to do a nice deep breath here. And on the exhale, come down, bringing the chest and the abdomen to the ground. Feeling a nice stretch all down the back body. Really nice stretch in the glutes and in the lower back. And if it feels good to add more of a stretch where the arms come out, please do that. It's always time for experimenting with what feels good in each posture for you. Walking the hands up, taking a nice in-breath here. Exhale it out. Great. We're going to come all the way back, lowering our backs to the mat, however that feels good for you. And we're just going to come into happy baby. So you're going to take your hands and come into the soles of the feet, inside the legs, not on the outside, but the outside, inside of the feet with an arch arm. And you're just going to bring those legs up in a bent position. And just feel a really nice stretch in the inner thighs. And we can begin to come into our own breath now. We can be coming away from the deep breathing and coming more into our own natural rhythm of breath. Just allowing the whole back, shoulders, ribs, spine, just melting into the mat here. Very nice. And for a last stretch, we're just going to send our whole body out straight, sending our toes as far away from our torso as we can, and the same, sending the fingertips as far as we can to the opposite side. And we're just going to allow for a really big whole body stretch here. Remembering to breathe. Beginning to slow down. One more breath here. Awesome. And you can bring your hands beside you. And we're going to stay in this pose, corpse pose, otherwise known as Shavasana. I'm going to come up because I'm going to bring you a little bit deeper into Shavasana and then read a poem. So I want you to get really comfortable. Just allow your breathing to come back into this very normal, natural rhythm, your own unique, authentic breath. You're going to allow the jaw to relax. And as you inhale, you're going to go and find any of those places that might still feel some tension. And on the inhalation, you'll go to where that tension still exists and exhale it out, finding more room in the body. Just a few cycles of finding that tension and releasing it. Remembering to loosen the jaw. Bring your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Let the whole face just relax. Let the shoulders spill into the back of the mat, into the mat. Allow all of the places in your back that feel tension to just melt flatly into that mat. Going down the rest of the back body, taking a scan of the back legs, just releasing any tension that still holds. Coming into the front of the body, allowing the neck and the shoulders, the forearms and the hands to just relax into the mat or on your belly, wherever they feel comfortable. Allowing the quadriceps, the front of the thighs to relax, the knees to relax, the ankles and the tops of the feet to relax. Breathing in this safe, secure, calm, peaceful energy. Shavasana is the place where we understand our soul. We meet it where it is in the present moment. We accept ourselves for the incredible, wonderful, creative, passionate being that we are. We celebrate that authentic self. A yoga savasana poem by the book Blissful Words by Zach Beach. Let go and flow. Let go and flow. Don't just be here now. Go with the now. Flow with the now. See how it changes with each moment and turbulent turn. Let the river of now take you, wash over you, and carry you forward. Through its unfolding grace, there are no wrong turns. Around every bend lies a new landscape of infinite potential. Go with this now, and this now, 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 now. Surrender into the divine energy, the force of creation where everything arises and everything returns. Feel surprise between your ears, wonder behind your eyes, and the unfolding smile of a new dawn behind your lips. Go with this now, and this now, and this now. And when you begin to feel ready, maybe you wiggle your toes, you wiggle your fingers, you flutter your eyes, and you begin to rise slowly and gently, however that feels good for your body. You can come to a seated position, the one that feels most comfortable for you. And we can fold our hands in Anjali Mudra, the prayer of yoga. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope that this was an offering that might be helpful to someone. Remember to thank yourself for finding the time and the space to care for you. And I wish you peace and joy and security and safety and freedom. And I hope that you have a really nice day. Or if it's nighttime, I hope you have a peaceful evening. Om Shanti. Peace to you.